Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Rose Cottage Acres. This morning I thought I'd invite you to join me on a little tour of the garden and see what we can harvest. So here we have a bunch of cherry tomatoes. They're not ripe yet. They grew from seed on their own. They were volunteers. I have no idea how they'll taste, but we left them anyway because if we don't like the way they taste, the chickens will eat them. You can see just loaded. Now we have had to do a lot of kind of pruning with them in the lower spots because I don't want the chickens eating the leaves. So we kind of had to pull them back and all down here. And actually broke one by accident, but oh well. They were volunteers. But yeah, we're going to have a pretty good crop on these volunteer cherry tomatoes that I didn't do a thing, just let them seed and go. So I was talking about volunteers. Here are two more volunteers. Also still green. They're about to ripen a little bit. Quite large tomatoes. Now, these seem to be seeded from a tomato I had here last year. So it'll be interesting to see what they taste like as well. But that's the great thing about a garden is if you wouldn't have had time to plant anything and you just would have been able to maintain it a little bit, pull down weeds and stuff, you would have cherry tomatoes and beefsteak tomatoes of some kind. Here's another volunteer we're really enjoying this year. I planted sunflowers last spring along here, but I didn't really bother again. Here they are, come back from seed. And as you can see from these sunflowers that also seeded themselves, they make quite an attractive flower. They must be Autumn Beauty, maybe, that I seeded last year, or some kind of sunflower mix. And somehow some of the seeds got over here as well. So I'm over in the garden behind the house, and I've got a lot of things I could be harvesting, but I have no room for. So this cauliflower, I'm probably going to harvest and give to my sister this weekend. And I've got some Monica purpose cucumbers coming on. I think I will harvest this one today. So now we're in the back garden. You see, I've got a whole bunch of babies coming up to take the place of these sunflowers as they stop being productive. And a whole bunch of pretty flowers. But I'm not harvesting any flowers today, so we're going to move on to the tomatoes. See if there's anything here. So we're moving on to the tomatoes. We picked most of the ripe ones yesterday, so it shouldn't be too bad. I see one in here that looks like he needs to go. Yeah, so these are Black Russians, and they don't get the same red color as a normal ripe tomato. They are amazing tasting though. They look like a plum, but they're not. They have a really great tomatoey sweetness, and they're amazing. More volunteer pumpkins that are way too orange. So I'm unsure. Am I going to have pumpkins this year for Halloween? I'm going to have pumpkins this year for August for sure, but I don't think they're going to keep. I have plenty of nice big peppers, but I'm not going to harvest any because I've still got some in on the counter. And if you leave these, they actually turn color. I think this one's orange. I know the other one is yellow. So I'm trying to leave them. It's hard because you know this perfect green pepper is going to taste good, and if you leave it on the vine and it gets bugs in it, then it's ruined. Lemon cucumbers. These are my favorites. You can eat them like an apple almost. They're so good. This is something I'm trying for the first time, a giant pumpkin. I mean, he's not at all giant. He's about maybe 25, 30 pounds. But that's the biggest pumpkin I've ever grown. Got these Atlantic giant seeds, and you can see the vine is very vigorous. But basically, he's using so much energy that he killed both his brothers, and he's the only one on the vine. So we'll see if he gets any bigger or not. So we've been out here every day. The size of the zucchini we like to eat is in the middle. I have no idea how we missed these guys. They are way too big. And I can spiralize or shred them for zucchini breads or cakes, but they'll probably go to the chickens who enjoy eating them, so there won't be any waste still. I may need to check my glasses prescription, because first the zucchini, and then I kept complaining that this massive vine was setting no fruit. And I mean, seriously, how can you miss this? It's not tiny, people. There's my hand, there's the fruit. They're all through here. This is a really neat heritage variety, and it's supposed to be great for storing, like Musc de Provence. I don't think I could pronounce it in the last video either. It's supposed to be wonderful. It's very vigorous. And look, my chickpeas are about ready to pull up, I think. And try that garbanzo bean challenge pretty soon. It'll be coming out. So here's the okra. You can see the flower there. The flower is going to bloom. It's going to come up with a seed pod. The pod is what we harvest. You want your pod to be small, 2.5 to 3.5 inches. Anything bigger gets woody and kind of terrible tasting. So this will be a very tender okra. And I'm not going to eat it. I don't like okra. It's going to my sister. So here's this morning's harvest. Like I said, I could harvest some other things, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wait till closer to the weekend on some of the things and harvest them fresh for family. But it's not bad. Come out in the morning, get 5 zucchini, 2 tomatoes, 2 cucumbers, and an okra. Okay, thought I'd check on the progress of our dark green zucchini seedlings. And it looks like one sprouted, so as long as we can keep him alive in this terrible heat, that'll be awesome. Look at the grass moving in already, now that the chickens aren't here. And oh look, the 8 balls, we've got 2 coming up. That's great. Our 2 little trees are still holding their own in this very, very hot weather, so that's good too. I think we're going to be doing okay. No dill. So I don't know if the dill is going to sprout or not. We'll just have to wait and see. So this is actually the next morning after the harvest video I just finished. Kind of a PS. I don't know what happened. We were blind or something. I don't know. Look at the Munster cucumber, the 2 Munster zucchini. Tons of tomatoes. I really don't think that all happened in a day. I think we missed part of it. Chickens are going to eat good tonight. Thanks for joining me in the garden. I hope you enjoyed the tour as much as I did. If you have any questions or need any help with your gardens, please feel free to drop a line in the comments. I'm always happy to answer. Have a blessed day. See you next time.